Welcome to Conjure Live, where your counsel speaks, a weekly space for ancestral counsel, clear guidance and direction for your next chapter. I'm Dr. MoNique, the trusted ancestral advisor to second act leaders. Let us begin by opening this space by inviting the ancestors, known and unknown, to be with us. If you're able to, just place your hand anywhere on your body. It could be on your heart, on your belly, wherever you want, wherever you're just feeling the energy today. Place your hand there and just take a steady, deep breath and exhale and just relax. Bring to mind an ancestor who inspires you. It could be someone in your bloodline, it may be someone in history, it can be a friend, any ancestor that it just seems like it's an ancestor that you want to really connect with, an ancestor that you like to connect with. And if you're comfortable, go ahead and place their name in the comment section below. Just place their name in the comments so we can invite them in, whether you're on Facebook, if you're listening to the replay, it's still as powerful. And if you're on Zoom, just place the name of an ancestor. Yes, Cousin Felix, beautiful. Yeah, let's place those names in there and get those ancestors in the space with us, inviting them in, inviting them in. I'm inviting Gladys Carter, my grandmother on my mother's side. I'm inviting my grandmother on my father's side, Annie Mae Bettis. I'm inviting them, come in, come in, come in, be here, my ancestresses. And now that we've invited them in, now just say this with me or just listen and receive it. Ancestors of my blood and bones, ancestors whose names we know and whose names we don't know. Ancestors we admire and trust, we venerate you. We venerate you. We call you for guidance rooted in truth and wisdom. And we welcome those who carry our ancestral medicine to be here with us today. And we don't want to forget the divine ones, the spiritual allies who also walk with us. We welcome you too. Thank you for your protection, your wisdom, and your counsel. And to anything not aligned with truth, not aligned with truth, integrity, and love, and our well being, you're not welcome into this space. Take one more deep breath and let's just settle in. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for sharing the names of your ancestors and inviting them into the space. Today, we're talking about something many people feel but can't always name. And it's something that has come up quite a bit from my clients when I'm meeting with people and talking to people from all over the world. One of the things that they say is, my ancestors are blocking me. My ancestors are blocking me. I think that there's a block there. And so the topic today is when ancestral protection feels like a block. It may not always be a block. Sometimes what you're calling a block is not really resistance, it's protection. And sometimes that protection is connected to an ancestral story. And in ancestral story healing, one of the things that we do is we look at these particular stories like abandonment, abuse, fear, betrayal, grief, anger. When these stories live in our lineage, they don't always disappear. They're passed down from generation to generation, and they can shape how people love, lead, trust, speak, create, receive, and how they move forward in life. So when you're in your second act, you may feel called to do something really meaningful. Start a business, begin a brand new career, create a program, share your gifts, travel the world even. You may feel this deep yes in your spirit and still experience some fear. You may experience hesitation or patterns that don't feel fully like they're yours. That doesn't mean you're failing. It means that an ancestral story is actually active in your life, in your lineage right now. And It means that your ancestors oftentimes are protecting you from the experiences, the same experiences they carried, the problems and challenges they had. They're they're protecting you. So we're going to unpack this today so you understand it and then you're able to move through it. What I'd like you to do is just type one word in the chat. What comes up for you when you're called to move forward in a bigger way? Let's say there's something that is really new for you, something that you really want to step into. What happens? Just one word is good. Fear, doubt, maybe there's pressure. Yeah, fear, exactly. Confusion, hesitation, maybe there's some fatigue or some avoidance. What's a word that actually shows up for you when you really are ready to take a big step forward? Yeah. And I find that this is something that happens for so many people. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, both. Yep, fear. Fear is one of the biggest ones. A lack of connection, any of that can happen. Right. Okay, good. Thank you for sharing those. Well, let's start here. You inherited more than just eye color and family recipes and your beautiful personality. You also inherited these stories. Some stories were stories that were spoken and they were passed down, and then some were never shared. Some lived in silence in your lineage. And those stories, they actually shape what feels possible to you. Even when your conscious mind says, I'm ready to make this happen, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're ready to step into it until we understand what's happening with these ancestors. So, for example, let's say your lineage experienced abandonment. You may have some fear about being visible because you think that it could create some abandonment for you. Let's say your lineage experienced betrayal. You may have some challenges with trusting or entering into some type of a partnership. And if your lineage experienced abuse, your mind body may kind of read that expansion as danger. I can't go there because it's dangerous. Let's say your lineage experienced a tremendous amount of grief and loss. Part of you may fear that joy and success or receiving too much is something that could harm you. This is not about blame or blaming your ancestors or saying that they're hurting you. This is about really discernment. Because if we cannot name the story that is happening, that has occurred in our ancestral lineage, we keep calling it things that it really isn't. Procrastination, inconsistency, self-sabotage, confusion. These are some of the things that we begin to think when really it is an ancestral story that is happening in the background and ancestors who experience this story who are trying to protect you. So basically, something older is moving underneath the surface. And this is why your second act asks for spiritual guidance and not just strategy alone. Strategy can help you build, but discernment helps you see what is shaping the builder, what is creating this builder. You, the builder. So here's a deeper truth, though. Because we often hear about our ancestors passing to us these wounds and these family patterns, and we hear people use the word curses and all these different things that we've heard that our ancestors may negatively be sharing with us. But I don't want to end there by just focusing on the wounds that are there. I want to remind you that there's a deeper truth. Your ancestors did not pass down only wounds, they also passed wisdom to you. They passed courage, creativity, spiritual gifts in the form of your ancestral medicine, survival intelligence, and medicine. When ancestors survived war, enslavement, the Holocaust, displacement, violence, poverty, famine, and other world atrocities, They absolutely carry this pain. Yes, for sure, they do. But they also, if we really look deeper, they also carry a brilliance. They learn to endure. They learn to adapt. They learn to create. They knew how to keep life moving despite the things that were happening around them. And what I love is that most of them learned how to make a way out of no way. We see that when it comes to food, we see that when it comes to how they went about, getting water and, the clothing that they wore. All of that was through creativity. All of that was through making a way out of no way. So that wisdom lives in your lineage too, along with some of those stories that may be creating a protection that feels like a block for you. All of that moves together. So, what happens is when we feel called to do something, something extraordinary, something that you're doing in your second act, your ancestors may be doing two things at the same time. They may be protecting you from the old wounds that have been passed down through the lineage, and they may be calling you to use your medicine that you inherited to do something big in the world. So, this is why you can feel both fear and calling, hesitation and desire, and resistance and knowing. Take a quick drink here. Many women begin to think that this means that they're split, or maybe they're not ready, or maybe this isn't the right time, or maybe things aren't aligned for me. Sometimes that's fear talking, but that isn't necessarily what is happening. It may mean that your lineage is asking for a new way forward. They're asking you to create a new way forward, a way that honors what survived without repeating what actually caused harm. And that is your sacred work. It's your sacred work. So, what I want you to do is just type yes if you've ever felt called to something meaningful, but also felt fear that didn't fully make sense. It just felt like there was some fear there, or you may have even decided that there was a reason to be afraid. Yes, you felt it. Yes. And I have too. Yeah. Yeah, everyone is saying yes. We've all felt that at times. And that can be a time when you just need to slow down for a moment, identify what is yours, what is your lived experience, what part of this is your lived experience that you can work on, and what part of this has been passed down to you. And then we go about doing some releasing and healing those stories that may be kind of holding you back and keeping you from feeling like you can fully step into what it is that you want to do. There is another ancestral story many people in this work carry. And this is one that I definitely felt like I needed to share. We're going to talk more about these stories over the next few weeks, but there's one that is really, really big. And some of your ancestors were punished, shunned, alienated, discarded, forced into poverty for using their gifts, using their voice, using their wisdom, using their medicine, using their healing and their root work. Many of them were forced to stop, some of them even killed. Many of them may have been healers, seers, midwives, intuitives, spiritual workers, medicine people, truth tellers. If you're in this session with me and you're listening to this, more than likely you have ancestors that experienced this. You have ancestors that were part of this group. Their gifts were needed. And still, those gifts may have been brought to a point where danger existed, where they were rejected, ridiculed, or they experienced a deep hardship. So then what happens in later generations? You may be called to lead, you're called to create, you're called to serve in a much bigger way. You're called to share your spiritual gifts. But then suddenly you feel a fear of being seen, a fear of being misunderstood. I know a lot of people, I get a lot of people that come to me about the fear of being seen, a fear of charging for your work. Yeah, that's a big one too. The fear of charging for your work. I work with so many women who are doing healing work or spiritual entrepreneurs that are doing counseling and consulting and spiritual transformation work who are not charging for their wisdom and their expertise. They're not charging for the transformation that they're delivering to their clients. And that oftentimes stems from these inherited wounds. Sometimes there's a fear of naming the gifts directly. I get this a lot too. Well, I don't really want to tell people that I do this spiritual work or that I'm doing healing work or that I'm doing tarot or that I work with the ancestors or I work with my spirit guides. I have a fear of letting that out. And for some, that fear is real. There may be situations within your family structure or in your community where you could be shunned or not welcomed and that kind of thing. So there are oftentimes some real lived experiences. But underneath that, when we look a little bit deeper, most of the time there's ancestral stories, ancestors who have been harmed because they've used their gifts, who have been prevented from using their medical wisdom that was passed down to them from multiple generations, conjure women who were no longer able to use their medicine, midwives who were prevented from using their medicine. And I'm not talking about the current midwives, I'm talking about midwives many, many generations back who learned from their mothers and grandmothers and it was passed down. So when this happens, this fear may not be all yours. It may be not all what you've experienced. It could very well be the experiences of your ancestors that are fueling some of your fear. And so these ancestral stories are still trying to protect you. They're still trying to offer you a loving protection that really is preventing you from making that step forward. So it isn't harm, it isn't evil. They aren't trying to trip you up, they aren't trying to hurt you. They're actually trying to protect you. And those are the ancestors that we want to do some work with. Those are the ones that we want to help because they hold the medicine, right? And when we work with them, then it allows that medicine to flow through us much easier. And so this is where conjure becomes so important. And many have asked me, well, what is conjure? Because they've always experienced it as something negative or mystical or something that was evil or something along those lines. In fact, some people have even asked me, is it evil? Is it bad? Well, in my world, conjure is an intentional relationship with your ancestral wisdom. It's an intentional relationship with your ancestral wisdom. And it means carrying forward that unique ancestral medicine that's encoded in you, that has been in your lineage for multiple generations. And next month, we're going to talk more about that. In fact, I have something special for you next month, a 4-part series in March around this subject. So, what Conjure does, it helps you identify what is guidance, what is protection. There is a difference. What is the inherited story? And what is your true ancestral medicine? So you can now move forward with discernment. So I'll say it again. Conjure helps you identify what is guidance, what is protection, what is an inherited story, and what is your true medicine. so you can move forward, as I said, with discernment. And what I want to do is I want to take you through a short guided journey. So if you're, excuse me, in a position to do that now, I want you to go ahead and close your eyes. But if you're not, do this later. The recording will be available. I'll send it out on Thursday. And for those listening on Facebook, it'll be here in the Facebook group for a while. And for those who are listening to the replay on YouTube, it'll be on YouTube indefinitely. So you can always go and check there. But only do this if it's safe for you to do it right now. So if you're able to close your eyes, then go ahead and close your eyes. And once again, if you're not, just listen. You'll still be able to take this journey. Just listen. And just place your hand on your heart and take a slow, deep breath in. And then exhale. And just bring to mind a place in your life where you feel called forward, but something keeps tightening, delaying, or pulling you back. Something that's calling you forward, but then there's something that just continues to hold you back. Take a moment to bring that to mind. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a journey to your ancestral creation garden. This is a place that holds your dreams, medicine, and wisdom needed for your next steps. This is where your ancestors are gathering to meet with you today. So just imagine unfolding in front of you is a walkway. And you step onto this walkway and you feel a sense of healing and comfort as you're on this walkway. And you're taking steps forward and you're noticing all the beauty around you. You hear the birds in the trees. The sunlight is dancing between the leaves and you feel its warmth on your body. And as you continue to take steps, you notice the beautiful flowers, the grass. There's nature all around you. And as you continue to take this journey, you come to this beautiful garden. It's the most beautiful garden that you've ever seen. It seems familiar to you. This is where your ancestors have gathered to meet with you, to gather with you, to listen to you. And they are invited into this circle. You're welcomed, you're invited in. Your ancestors have open arms. Notice that the ancestresses, the women, the most powerful women in your lineage, have gathered here in large numbers. Today, they want to share their wisdom with you. So just think and say silently, ancestors who walk with me in this season, show me the ancestral story that is active here. Show me clearly in a way that I can understand. So I'll say that again. Ancestors who walk with me in this season, show me the ancestral story that is active here. Show me clearly in a way that I can understand. And just breathe. And then notice what comes. It might be a word, an image. It could even be a person, a memory, a feeling, a symbol. It might even be a body sensation. Don't force it, just receive it. Just receive it. And if you don't receive anything, just notice how you're feeling in this moment. It's okay. Your ancestors are still connecting, even if you don't get anything immediately. and ask your ancestors, what do you want me to know about this story right now? And just receive any messages, feelings, sensations that come through. And now we'll ask the ancestors for one word that you can bring back with you. One word that can help you release any stories that are causing you to feel blocked. One word that helps to clear that story. And receive your word now. Now thank your ancestors for being with you in this moment. Thank your ancestors for their guidance, their wisdom. Thank your ancestors for gathering with you. And as you take your steps along the golden, beautiful path through the beautiful garden, back into the present moment with your word, bring it with you. Come into the present moment with your word in your hand, in your heart, in your mind. And when you're ready, open your eyes. And if you feel comfortable, share your word. What was the word that they gave you during the journey? And here's what you can do with that word: freedom, joy, beautiful. Yes. Here's what you can do with your word: take it and put it on your altar. It's another way to have a direct connection with the ancestors that can help you, that can support you and help you with clearing whatever these stories are that are playing in the background. Whatever the stories are that have come through your lineage, this is another way to connect with the ancestors that are ready to support you with releasing that story. And it helps them as well. So let me close this with something truly direct. If you're feeling called to do something meaningful and fear keeps rising, do not rush to call yourself blocked. Pause for a moment and ask a better question. What ancestral story is active here? What are the stories that may be in your family lineage that are active in this moment? And it's important because understanding what the stories are helps you to understand what you need to do to move forward. So ask also, what is my lineage trying to protect me from? Now, for some people, you may not know your family history or members of your family lineage, but you may know where your family originated from. You may know atrocities that they experienced or some things that happened in their lives from a historical perspective. You may understand that, or you may understand that maybe you were adopted or you went into foster care and you still don't know that much about your parents. Then you know that there's some things that happened to them that created maybe some abandonment for them, some fear, some grief. You'll know that those stories are there. And really think about whether or not those stories are contributing to what is taking place in your life right now. And as I said, because sometimes what feels like a block really is ancestral protection. And sometimes what feels like fear is the edge of your medicine asking to be used in a new and different way. And I want you to remember something. This is the most important part because once again, we're often told about how we inherited these wounds. and you inherited more than wounds from your ancestors. You inherited wisdom, you inherited creativity, resilience, you inherited courage, and you inherited that ancestral medicine, that unique medicine that runs through your blood and bones that you can bring forward today to begin to offer something more exciting in the world in your second act. So if today what I shared with you resonates with you, and you know that you need clear guidance for your next steps, this is exactly why I created Conjure Wisdom. Conjure Wisdom is a 90-minute private clarity, guidance, and healing intensive that I do. And it's specifically for second act women, women who have had some successes in their life somewhere, and now they're wanting to take that wisdom, that experience, and create something new and different. And you're ready to stop circling and really ready to get clear. And this isn't a passive session where you just listen. This is really what I call an intentional space. This is where we connect with the ancestors and the wisdom keepers that are guiding you in this season. And you get to ask questions, ask what you need next, ask them questions for clarity. And together we'll look at what is happening right now in your life, your work, or your next chapter. And in this season, we focus on two things. I said in this season, what I meant is in this session. So in this session, we focus on two things. In the first part, we connect for guidance and clarity. So I connect with your ancestors. We get wisdom, we get guidance, we get clarity from your ancestors, we get information about what your next steps are. And then in the second part, we identify the ancestral stories that are creating some hesitation, confusion, fear, and we begin to clear those. This is the first step in the clearing. And then you'll receive some real clear steps you can act on with a written integration report that you received after your session. So this is information to help you continue your connection with your ancestors on your own. These are some rituals that you can do to help you heal whatever that story is that needs to be released and healed. So for many women that are at this point in their lives, this is especially powerful. And that's because you know that you're being called to create something and or even refine a spiritual gift that you already have and make your work more aligned with who you are in this season of your life. And if you're feeling unclear about that, or you're feeling stuck, or you're trying to force your way forward, you're trying to hustle your way forward, you've taken a lot of classes and you've worked with a number of coaches, but things still don't seem like they're aligning, this is a great way for you to get started in really looking at your next steps from an ancestral perspective and what that uniqueness is about you that needs to be carried forward. So for many women, Conjure Wisdom is the first step. It's the first step before we go into Conjure Blueprint, where we dive deeper into the ancestral healing and we become very clear about what the ancestral medicine is, and then we create something around that medicine and really helping you continue to connect with your ancestors. So Conjure Medicine and ancestral medicine codes are a part of Conjure Blueprint, but Conjure Wisdom is where we take the first steps in identifying what is it that your ancestors want you to know. What is it that you want to know for your ancestors? What is the story that is most impacting you right now? Who are the ancestors that can help you release that story? And what are some of the things that you can do to have a connection with the ancestors that can guide you and the ancestors that can help with the healing? And if you're interested in Conjure Wisdom, you can type wisdom in the comments and I'll make sure that you get the link, and I'll make sure that I post that in the Facebook group, and I'll also include it in the YouTube description. So the information will be there. So I want to thank you for listening to messages from your ancestors. And for those on Zoom, hang out with me for a little while longer so we can do our after the show chat. If you want to join us on Zoom next time so that you can join the after show chat, then type Zoom in the comments and I will make sure that you receive the link. Next month, we have a special 4-part Ancestral Masterclass. You can attend on Zoom, Facebook, listen to the replay on YouTube. But if you want to receive real guided support from your ancestors afterwards, Zoom is the place to be. So remember, you hold a unique ancestral medicine. It is guiding you, it is flowing through you, and it is ready to be called forward. And now, with everything that's happening in the world, now is the time that women are being called forward to use their ancestral medicine. Their ancestresses are rising to support them. So once again, I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. I'll see you next week, same time, Wednesday, 1:30 p.m. Pacific time, 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next week.